I bandaged a stranger's wounds at 2 a.m. By sunrise, 200 armed men surrounded my house. I thought they came to kill me. I was wrong. What they wanted was far more terrifying. They wanted me. My name is Elena Cross, and this is the story of how I fell in love with the devil himself. It was a Thursday night in October when my life changed forever. The rain was coming down in sheets, the kind of rain that keeps honest people indoors and brings the desperate to my door. I lived alone in a small house on the edge of the city. Not the nice part, not the terrible part, just the forgettable part, which is exactly what I wanted. Forgettable meant safe, forgettable meant invisible. I was a nurse, but not the kind you'd find in hospitals. I was the kind that patched up people who couldn't go to hospitals, people with bullet wounds and knife cuts who asked no questions and expected none in return. I know what you're thinking. Why would a good girl like me get into a business like that? Because good girls with medical school debt and no family don't have the luxury of being picky. It was 2:47 in the morning when someone started pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding, like the police during a raid, like death demanding entry. I froze in my bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. Every instinct I had screamed at me not to answer. Don't open that door, Elena. Nothing good comes knocking at 3 a.m. But the pounding continued, desperate, violent, and beneath the violence I heard something else, pain. I'm a healer. It's not just what I do, it's who I am. So despite every warning bell going off in my head, I grabbed my medical bag and went to the door. I looked through the peephole and immediately wished I hadn't. The man standing on my porch was drenched in rain and blood, so much blood. His white dress shirt was more red than white, plastered to a body that was clearly built for violence. Broad shoulders, muscular arms, the kind of physique that came from actual fighting, not gym memberships. But it wasn't his body that made my breath catch. It was his eyes. Even through the peephole, even in the darkness, I could see them. Dark eyes, cold eyes, empty eyes, the kind of eyes that had seen death up close and personal, the kind of eyes that had delivered it. Open the door, his voice was rough, commanding, barely above a growl, or we both die tonight. My hand moved to the lock before my brain could stop it. The moment I opened that door, I knew I'd just invited a monster into my home. He stumbled inside, leaving bloody footprints on my clean floor. Up close he was even more intimidating. Tall, at least 6'3", dark hair plastered to his head, a face that would have been beautiful if it wasn't twisted in pain. Sharp jaw, high cheekbones, a nose that had been broken at least twice. And those eyes, God, those eyes. Close the door, lock it, draw the blinds. He wasn't asking, he was commanding even as he swayed on his feet. I did as he said. My hands were shaking but my voice was steady, years of emergency room training kicking in. Kitchen, now, sit down before you pass out. He actually smiled at that, a dark, dangerous smile that sent chills down my spine. Bossy little angel, aren't you? I ignored him and cleared my kitchen table with one sweep of my arm. Papers, mail, my half-eaten dinner, all of it crashed to the floor. I didn't care, I needed space to work. Shirt off. He struggled with the buttons, his fingers clumsy with pain and blood loss. Without thinking, I stepped forward and helped him, my fingers brushing against his skin as I unbuttoned his shirt. His body was a roadmap of violence, scars everywhere, old bullet wounds, knife cuts, burns, some were faded with time, others looked recent. This wasn't his first visit to someone like me. This was a man who lived with violence, who wore it on his skin like armor. Jesus Christ, I whispered. He's not here, Angel, just you and me and whatever devils are hunting me. I pulled his shirt away and assessed the damage. Bullet wound in his left side, the entry wound clean but the exit wound a mess. A deep knife slash across his ribs, still bleeding. Bruises blooming purple and black across his abdomen. His knuckles were split open, defensive wounds. You were in a fight. You should see the other guys. That dark humor again, even as blood dripped onto my kitchen floor. The bullet went through, that's good. The cut needs stitches, a lot of stitches. Then stitch me up, Angel. I got to work. I've patched up dozens of people in my kitchen, but never anyone like him. Never anyone who sat so still while I cleaned his wounds with alcohol. Never anyone who didn't flinch when I started stitching without anesthetic. You should be screaming, I said as my needle pierced his skin. I've had worse. That's not normal. I'm not a normal man. As I worked, I became hyper-aware of him, the heat radiating from his body, the way his muscles tensed under my fingers, the barely controlled violence coiled in his frame, like a predator pretending to be tame. "What's your name?" I asked, trying to distract myself from how close I was to him. "Does it matter? I'm literally inside your body with a needle. I think I deserve a name." He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, softly, "Dante." "Dante," I repeated. "That's Italian, yes." I finished the last stitch on his side and moved to the knife wound on his ribs. This one was deeper, angrier. Whoever did this wanted to kill him. "Who did this to you, Dante?" "People who don't like me very much." "I can't imagine why, you seem so pleasant." He actually laughed at that. A real laugh, rough and surprised, like he wasn't used to laughing. "You're funny, Angel. What's your name?" "Elena." "Elena," he said my name like he was tasting it, rolling it around in his mouth. Beautiful name for a beautiful woman. I felt my cheeks heat. "Don't flirt with me while I'm stitching you back together." "Why not? Seems like the perfect time." I focused on my work, trying to ignore the way my heart was racing. It wasn't fear anymore. It was something far more dangerous. By the time I finished, dawn was breaking outside. I bandaged his torso, wrapping white gauze around his muscular frame. "Done," I said, stepping back. "You need antibiotics, rest, and probably a real hospital." He stood slowly, testing his mobility. He moved like a predator, all controlled power despite his injuries. "I'll send payment." "I don't want your money." He turned to look at me, really look at me. His eyes traveled over my face like he was memorizing every detail. "Everyone wants something, Elena. What do you want?" I should have said money, should have given him my bank account number and sent him on his way, but standing there in my kitchen with the sunrise streaming through the windows, I said the truth. "I want you to survive." Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, confusion. For just a moment the monster looked almost human. "Why?" "Because everyone deserves a chance to survive." He stepped closer, too close, invading my space until I could feel the heat of his breath on my face. He smelled like rain and copper and something expensive. Cologne maybe, or just money. "You don't know me, Angel. I'm not someone you should want to survive." "That's not my call to make." We stood there, locked in a stare that felt like a battle of wills. I should have been terrified, should have been pushing him away. But all I could think about was how dark his eyes were, like a starless night, like the deep ocean, beautiful and deadly. Then he smiled, slow and dangerous and full of promise. "I'll be seeing you again, Elena Cross." He knew my full name. I'd never told him my last name. Before I could ask how he knew, he was gone, disappeared into the morning like he was never there. The only evidence of his visit was the blood on my floor and the bandages I needed to dispose of. I locked my door, cleaned up the blood, and told myself I'd never see him again. I was a fool. I woke up at noon to silence, the kind of silence that makes your instincts scream, the kind of silence that means something is very, very wrong. I stumbled out of bed, still exhausted from the night before, and pulled back my bedroom curtain to check the weather. And then I saw them. Black SUVs, everywhere, lining my street like a funeral procession, and men, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all dressed in black suits, all standing at attention, all staring at my house. My blood turned to ice. I ran to the living room window. More men, the back door, more men. They surrounded my house completely, a wall of armed bodies that blocked every exit. My phone was in my hand, 911 dialed, finger hovering over the call button, but something stopped me, some instinct that told me calling the police would only make this worse. These weren't the kind of men you called the police about. These were the kind of men the police avoided. 3 precise knocks on my front door, controlled, polite, somehow more terrifying than the pounding from last night. I approached the door like it might explode. Through the peephole I saw an older man, distinguished looking, silver hair, immaculate suit, cold shark eyes that had seen everything and felt nothing. "Miss Cross," his voice was cultured calm. "My name is Victor Castellano. I'm here on behalf of my employer. He wishes to speak with you." "Tell him to call." I'm afraid Mr. Morty doesn't make phone calls, he makes visits. Please, Miss Cross, don't make this difficult. Morty, the name hit me like a physical blow. Dante Morty, I'd heard that name before. Everyone in this city had heard that name. The Morty family controlled everything. Drugs, guns, politicians, judges. They were the invisible hand that ran this city from the shadows. And I'd had the head of the family bleeding on my kitchen table. I'll give you 60 seconds to open this door, Miss Cross, Victor said, his politeness never wavering. After that we come in anyway, and you don't want that, trust me. Threat wrapped in courtesy, the most dangerous kind. I opened the door. Victor smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Wise decision, please come with me. And if I refuse? Then you refuse. Mr. Morty respects free will. But know this, you saved his life last night. That makes you either an ally or a liability. Right now we're treating you as an ally. I'd hate for that to change. I was trapped, completely, utterly trapped. I followed Victor outside. The men parted as we walked through them, creating a path to a limousine parked in front of my house. The kind of limousine that presidents ride in, bulletproof, bomb-proof, escape-proof. Victor opened the door for me. After you, Miss Cross. I climbed inside and came face to face with the man from last night. But he looked different, clean, put together, powerful. Dante Morty sat across from me in a three-piece suit that probably cost more than my car. His hair was styled back, his face freshly shaved. The bandages were hidden beneath his shirt, but I could see the slight stiffness in how he held himself. He was in pain, but hiding it well. Without the blood and the rain and the desperation, he was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen, and the most terrifying. Elena, he said, my name a caress and a threat all at once. The door closed, the car started moving. I was trapped in a moving cage with a predator. You sent an army to my house. I tried for angry, but it came out scared. Are you insane? Sit. I don't take orders from. Sit, please. That please held more command than any shout could. I sat. He studied me in the daylight, his dark eyes traveling over my face with an intensity that made me feel naked. You saved my life last night. I'm a nurse, it's what I do. You didn't ask my name, didn't call the police, didn't ask questions, didn't demand payment. Why? Because you needed help. That's it, that's the only reason. What other reason should there be? He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, closing the space between us. In my world, Elena, no one does anything without a motive. People help because they want something in return. Money, power, protection, favors, but you. He shook his head, genuinely confused. You wanted nothing. I wanted you to live. Why? Because life is precious, even yours. He sat back, studying me like I was speaking a foreign language, like compassion was a concept he couldn't quite grasp. Do you know who I am, Elena? Dante Morty. And does that name mean anything to you? I swallowed hard, yes. Then you know what I do, you know what I am. I know what people say you are. And what do people say? That you're dangerous, that you control half this city, that you're not someone you cross if you value your life. All true, he said without a hint of shame. So why aren't you afraid? Who says I'm not afraid? Your hands, they're steady, your breathing, it's calm. You're scared but not terrified, why? I thought about it, really thought about it. Because if you wanted to hurt me, you would have done it already. You didn't come here for violence. He smiled, actually smiled, and it transformed his entire face. Smart girl. No, I didn't come here for violence. I came here because I owe you a debt. You don't owe me anything. Consider it repaid. That's not how this works. You saved my life, Elena. That life now belongs to you, and I always pay my debts. That's insane. That's the only rule I live by. Loyalty is everything, betrayal is death, and debts must be repaid. Fine, consider it repaid, we're even. His smile turned dark, dangerous. No, Angel, we're not even close to even. The car stopped. We'd arrived somewhere, though I had no idea where. I'm making you an offer, Dante said. A job, my personal physician, on call for me and my men 24/7, salary of 500,000 a year, tax-free. I choked. 500,000. Your student loans are 240,000. This would clear them in 6 months and set you up for life. How do you know about my student loans? He just looked at me. Right, he was Dante Morty. He probably knew everything about me, my social security number, my bank account, my entire life laid bare with a single phone call. Why me? I asked. You have money, you can hire anyone, why me? Because you didn't hesitate, didn't judge, didn't fear me, and in my world that's rarer than gold. I did fear you. But you helped me anyway, that's the difference. I stared at him, my mind racing. $500,000, freedom from debt, financial security for the first time in my life. But at what cost? If I say yes, I said slowly, what does that make me? He leaned in close, so close I could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. Mine. The word hung in the air between us, possessive, absolute, terrifying. I need to think about it. You have 24 hours, after that the offer expires. And if I refuse? He sat back, his face carefully neutral. Then you refuse, I won't force you, Elena, but… He paused, choosing his words carefully. My enemies saw me enter your house last night. They now know your face, your name, your address. Ice flooded my veins. You're saying I'm in danger. I'm saying you were in danger the moment you opened your door. Working for me offers protection. Refusing, he spread his hands. I can't protect someone who isn't mine. Anger surged through me. You bastard, you trapped me, you planned this. I survived by planning everything. No apology, no remorse, just cold, calculated truth. That's not a choice, that's coercion. That's reality. In my world, Elena, you're either protected or you're prey. I'm offering protection. By making me your property. By making you family, there's a difference. Is there? His eyes softened just barely. Yes, property can be replaced, family can't. The car door opened. Victor appeared. We'll take you home, Miss Cross, Dante said. Think about my offer, I'll call you tomorrow for your answer. I climbed out of the car on shaking legs, looked back at him one last time. What if I run, leave the city? Then run, I won't stop you, he paused, but they will find you and I won't be there to protect you. The car drove away, leaving me standing on my street, surrounded by armed men who melted away like shadows. I walked into my house, locked the door and slid down to the floor. I had 24 hours to decide if I wanted to sell my soul to the devil. The worst part, I was already leaning toward yes. I didn't sleep that night. I paced my house, weighing my options, running through scenarios. Run, where would I go? I had no family, no real friends. And Dante was right, if his enemies knew about me, running would only delay the inevitable. Refuse, then what? Live my life looking over my shoulder, waiting for violence to find me. Accept, become property of the most dangerous man in the city. By the time the sun rose, I'd made my decision. When Dante called at exactly 9 a.m., I answered on the first ring. Your answer, Elena. I have conditions. A pause, then amused. You're negotiating with me. You said you wanted me because I don't fear you. This is what that looks like. He actually laughed. Fair enough, name your conditions. I treat anyone who needs help, not just your men. If someone comes to me injured, I help them. I don't care which family they belong to. That could make you a target. I'm already a target. At least this way I sleep at night. Another pause, longer this time. Agreed, what else? I don't participate in violence, I don't help you hurt people. I heal, that's it. Agreed. And I'm not your property. I work for you, there's a difference. Silence, heavy silence that stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. Dante. You work for me, he said finally, but you belong to me, those are not the same thing. What does that mean? It means I protect what's mine. It means I value what's mine. It means you matter to me in ways that have nothing to do with employment. My heart was pounding. That sounds possessive, yes, dangerous, absolutely. But that's who I am, Elena, I don't do anything halfway. I should have said no, should have hung up, should have run as far and fast as possible. When do I start? Today, Victor will pick you up in an hour, pack for a week. A week, where am I going? To your new home. He hung up before I could argue. Exactly 1 hour later, Victor knocked on my door. Behind him were 4 men carrying boxes. For your belongings, Miss Cross, we'll have everything moved by tonight. Moved where? Morty Tower, top floor. Mr. Morty has prepared accommodations for you. I was being moved, relocated, absorbed into Dante's world before I could change my mind. Smart, manipulative, exactly what I'd expect from a man like him. The penthouse was obscene. 3 bedrooms, marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the entire city, art on the walls that was probably worth more than I'd make in a lifetime, a kitchen bigger than my old house. A gilded cage. The medical suite is through that door, Victor said, gesturing. Fully stocked, anything you need, just ask. Where's Dante? Mr. Morty will see you at dinner, 8 p.m, dress code is business casual. I don't have business casual. Victor gestured to one of the bedrooms. You do now. Inside the bedroom I found a walk-in closet filled with clothes, all my size, all expensive, dresses, suits, casual wear, shoes organized by color, jewelry in velvet boxes. He'd prepared for me, known I would say yes. I should have been angry. Instead, I was unnerved by how well he knew me. At exactly 8 p.m, I emerged from my bedroom in a simple black dress that probably cost more than a month's rent. I felt ridiculous, out of place, like a child playing dress-up. Dante was waiting in the dining room, also dressed in all black. Suit jacket, no tie, top button undone, casual elegance that probably came naturally to him. He stood when I entered, actual manners from a mobster. Elena, you look beautiful. I look expensive. Same thing in my world. The table was set for 2, crystal glasses, fine china, candles. It looked like a date. This isn't a date, I said quickly. No, this is a business dinner. Sit. I sat, he sat across from me. How are you settling in? You mean how do I like my very expensive prison? He smiled. It's not a prison, you can leave whenever you want. Can I? Yes. But you'll come back. You seem very sure of that. I am. Servers appeared with food, pasta, wine, fresh bread. It smelled incredible. Why, I asked. Why what? Why all this, the penthouse, the clothes, I gestured around. Why not just give me an office and an apartment somewhere? He set down his fork, giving me his complete attention. Because you're not just an employee, Elena, you're mine to protect. That means you live where I can keep you safe, where I can see you, where I know nothing can touch you. That sounds controlling. Yes, I told you who I was. You also said I could leave. You can, I won't stop you, but I will follow you, protect you, watch you, whether you're here or somewhere else, you're mine now. This, he gestured to the penthouse, this is just more convenient. It should have terrified me, should have sent me running, but there was something in his eyes, something vulnerable beneath the possessive intensity. You're afraid, I said suddenly, realizing the truth. I'm not afraid of anything. Yes, you are, you're afraid of losing people, that's why you're so controlling, so possessive. His jaw clenched. You don't know what you're talking about. Then tell me I'm wrong. Silence, long, heavy silence. My mother, he said finally, voice low. She was killed when I was 12, shot in the street because my father made enemies. She was innocent, pure, everything good in my world, and they killed her to hurt him. My heart broke for the 12-year-old boy who watched his mother die. Dante. I learned that day that the only way to protect people is to control everything around them, every variable, every threat, every possible danger. That's not protection, that's suffocation. It's survival. He looked up at me, and for the first time I saw past the monster to the wounded man beneath. Everyone I've ever cared about has been used against me, hurt because of me, killed because of me. So yes, Elena, I'm controlling, I'm possessive, I'm suffocating, because that's how I keep people alive. I stood up, walked around the table, and did something incredibly stupid. I hugged him. He went rigid like he'd been struck, like human touch was a foreign concept. I'm not your mother, I said softly. I'm not some innocent you have to protect from the world. I chose this, I chose you, Stop trying to save me and just let me be here. Slowly his arms came around me, held me like I was something precious, something breakable. I don't know how to do that, he whispered. Then learned. We stood there, the mobster and the nurse, two broken people trying to figure out how to not destroy each other. Stay with me tonight, he said suddenly. Dante. Not like that, just stay, I don't want to be alone. The vulnerability in his voice undid me. Okay. If you are enjoying this story, kindly subscribe. The next 3 weeks were the strangest of my life. By day I was a nurse, patching up Dante's men after fights, treating gunshot wounds, setting broken bones. I learned their names, their families, their stories. They weren't monsters. They were men who'd chosen violence because violence chose them first. By night I was Dante's companion. We'd have dinner together, talk about everything and nothing. He told me about his childhood, his father's brutal teachings, the weight of running an empire. I told him about growing up in foster care, about becoming a nurse to feel useful, about the loneliness of being invisible. We were two people who understood what it meant to survive. And somewhere in those conversations, I stopped seeing the monster. I started seeing the man. It was a Tuesday when everything changed. I was treating one of his men, Marco, a soldier who'd taken a knife to the shoulder during a territorial dispute. Miss Elena, Marco said as I stitched him up, can I ask you something? Sure. Why are you here, really? I paused, needle in hand. What do you mean? You're smart, beautiful, you could work anywhere. Why work for us, for him? Good question, I'd been asking myself the same thing. Because he needs me, I said honestly. We all need you, but that's not why you stay. Then why do I stay? Marco smiled. Because you're falling for him and he's already fallen for you. That's ridiculous. Is it? The boss hasn't taken a single meeting outside this building since you arrived. He has dinner with you every night. He personally checks your schedule to make sure you're not overworked. That's just protection. No, Miss Elena, that's love. The word hit me like a physical blow. Love? No, I couldn't be in love with Dante Morti. He was a criminal, a killer, a man who operated outside every moral line I'd ever drawn. But as I finished stitching Marco and walked back to the penthouse, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Was I in love with him? Did he love me? Dante was waiting in the living room when I got back, a glass of whiskey in his hand, staring out at the city like he was trying to solve its secrets. Rough day, I asked. Rival family is pushing into our territory. We're going to have to push back. Mori violence. It's the only language they understand. I sat next to him on the couch, close enough to feel his warmth. Marco said something today. Marco talks too much. He said you're falling for me. Dante went very still, then he drained his whiskey in one swallow. Marco should mind his own business. Is he right? Elena, are you falling for me, Dante? He turned to look at me, and the raw emotion in his eyes took my breath away. I fell for you the night you saved my life, when you looked at me like I was worth saving. My heart stopped. I've done terrible things, he continued. I've hurt people, killed people, I'm going to hell, Elena, and I've made peace with that. But then you looked at me with those eyes full of compassion and I thought, maybe I'm not completely damned, maybe there's still something in me worth saving. Dante, I love you, God help me, I love you, and that's the most dangerous thing I've ever done. I should have been scared, should have run, should have protected my heart from the inevitable destruction. Instead, I kissed him. It was desperate, fierce, a collision of two souls who'd been alone too long. He tasted like whiskey and danger and something uniquely him. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, like he was trying to merge us into one person. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. I love you too, I whispered. I'm probably insane, but I love you. You are insane. I'm the worst thing that could happen to you. Maybe, but you're my worst thing. He kissed me again, softer this time, reverent. I'll ruin you, he said against my lips. Maybe I'll save you. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Watch me. That night, Everything changed. We crossed a line we couldn't uncross, became something more than employer and employee, more than protector and protected. We became us. And for a few perfect weeks, I believed we could make it work. I was a fool. It was Victor who betrayed us. Victor Castellano, Dante's most trusted advisor, his right hand for 15 years, the man who'd been at Dante's side since his father died. Bought by Alessandro Santoro for $3 million and the promise of power. I didn't know about the betrayal until it was almost too late. It started with small things, men disappearing on routine assignments, shipments getting intercepted, allies suddenly turning cold. Dante blamed bad luck, coincidence. I blamed Victor. "You're paranoid," Dante said when I brought up my concerns. "I'm careful, there's a difference. Victor has been with me for 15 years. And how much is 15 years of loyalty worth to a man with no loyalty? Elena, enough, Victor is family." But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The way Victor looked at me when he thought I wasn't paying attention, the whispered phone calls that stopped when I entered a room, the slight smile when Dante mentioned another problem. 2 weeks after I first voiced my concerns, I found proof. I was in the medical suite, restocking supplies, when I heard voices in the hallway, Victor and someone I didn't recognize. "Santoro wants confirmation. When does it happen?" "Tomorrow night, the warehouse meeting. Dante will be there with minimal security, that's your window." "And the girls?" "Leave her, she's useful. Santoro wants her alive." My blood turned to ice. They were planning to kill Dante. I waited until they left, then ran to find Dante. He was in his office, reviewing contracts like it was just another day. "Dante, we need to talk, now." He looked up, saw my face, and immediately stood. "What happened?" "Victor, he's working with Santoro. They're planning to kill you tomorrow night at the warehouse meeting." His face went blank, carefully blank. "You're sure?" I heard him, he was on the phone with one of Santoro's men. "That's impossible, Victor would never." "Dante, I heard him." He stared at me for a long moment, and I saw the moment he accepted the truth, the moment his world shattered. 15 years, he said quietly. I trusted him with everything. "I'm sorry." He shook his head, emotion shuttering away behind cold calculation. "Don't be, you just saved my life, again." "What do we do?" He looked at me sharply. "You do nothing, you stay here where it's safe." "Like hell I do." "Elena." "I'm not debating this, you're walking into a trap, you need people you can trust, that's me." "You're a nurse, not a soldier." "No, I'm yours, you said it yourself, that makes me family. And family doesn't abandon each other when things get dangerous." Something broke in his eyes, the walls, the armor, all of it crumbled. He pulled me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. "If anything happens to you." "It won't because you won't let it." He pulled back, cupping my face in his hands. "I love you, more than I've ever loved anything, you understand that?" "I understand. And if this goes wrong?" "It won't." "But if it does," he insisted, "I need you to promise me something." "Anything." "Run, don't look back, don't try to save me, just run and live your life." "Dante." "Promise me, Elena." I looked into his eyes and lied. "I promise." We both knew I was lying. He knew I'd never run. I knew he'd never ask me to if the moment actually came. That night we made love like it might be our last time, desperate, tender, full of unspoken goodbyes. The next evening we drove to the warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Dante, myself, and 8 of his most trusted men, not Victor. Victor thought we didn't know. The warehouse was massive, abandoned, perfect for an ambush. "This is a terrible idea," I whispered as we parked. "Agreed, but it's the only way to draw them out." "What's the plan?" We walk in, we see who's there, and we see if Victor really has betrayed me. And if he has. Dante's face went cold, dangerous, then I end him. We walked into the warehouse together. Inside it was dark except for a circle of light in the center, and standing in that circle was Victor. Alone. Dante, Victor said, spreading his arms. Thank you for coming. Where's Santoro? Dante asked, his voice echoing in the empty space. Coming, he wanted me to verify you were alone. I'm here as requested. Not alone though, Victor's eyes slid to me. You brought the nurse. She goes where I go. Dangerous, bringing your weakness into a war zone. She's not my weakness, she's my strength. Victor laughed, cold, cruel. Love has made you soft, Dante, your father would be ashamed. My father was a monster who beat strength into me with his fists. I'm not ashamed of being different. Different got your mother killed. Dante's hand moved to his gun, but I grabbed his arm. Don't, that's what he wants. Smart girl, Victor said. Yes, I want you angry, unfocused, vulnerable. Why? Dante asked, and I heard the pain beneath the anger. 15 years, Victor, I treated you like family. Family, Victor spat. I was your servant, your attack dog, always following, never leading. I'm tired of being in your shadow. So you sold me out for money and a promise of power from Santoro. $3 million and control of the Southern Territory. Yes. He's lying to you. Santoro doesn't share power, he takes it. We'll see. The warehouse doors burst open. Men poured in from every entrance. Dozens of them, all armed, all pointed at us. We were surrounded. And standing at the head of his army was Alessandro Santoro himself. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit, shark eyes. Dante Morti, Santoro said, voice dripping with satisfaction. Finally, we meet properly. Alessandro, nice ambush, very dramatic. I learned from the best. Your father taught me everything I know before I killed him. Dante went very still. What did you say? Your father's death, that car accident 12 years ago, that was me. Brake lines cut, steering disabled. Watched him go over that cliff myself. I felt Dante trembling beside me. Rage, pure, incandescent rage. You killed my father. I killed a tyrant, and now I'm going to kill his son and take everything he built. You'll try. Santoro smiled. Look around you, Dante, you're outnumbered, outgunned, betrayed, this is over. It's not over until I'm dead. That can be arranged. Santoro pulled out a gun, aimed it at Dante's head. Any last words? Dante looked at me and in his eyes I saw everything. Love, regret, goodbye. Yes, Dante said, I have lost words. He turned back to Santoro. You made one mistake, Alessandro. You assumed I'd come here unprepared. Santoro frowned. What are you talking about? Victor gave you my location, my security details, my weaknesses, everything. Yes, he did. But Victor didn't know everything, because I stopped trusting him 3 days ago. Victor's face went pale. That's impossible, you believed me, you. I believed my nurse. She's the only person who's never lied to me. Dante raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The lights went out. Gunfire exploded in the darkness, muzzle flashes like lightning, screaming, chaos. Dante grabbed me, pulled me down behind a crate. Stay down, he yelled over the gunfire. What's happening? My men, real ones, they've been here for hours, hidden in the rafters, waiting for my signal. It was a trap within a trap. Santoro thought he was ambushing Dante, but Dante had been 3 steps ahead the entire time. The gunfight lasted less than 5 minutes, but it felt like hours. When the lights came back on, Santoro's men were on the ground, dead or surrendered. And Santoro himself was on his knees, surrounded by Dante's men. Victor tried to run, made it 3 steps before Dante shot him in the leg. Victor collapsed, screaming. Dante walked over to him slowly, gun in hand, face emotionless. 15 years, Dante said quietly. You were my brother. Please, Victor gasped. Please, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix betrayal. Dante, please. Dante raised his gun. Stop, I shouted, running forward. Don't do this. He looked at me, eyes empty. He betrayed me. The punishment for betrayal is death. I know, but you're better than this. No, I'm not. I'm exactly who my father raised me to be. A killer. Then prove him wrong. Show me you're different. Elena, please, for me, don't become him. For a long moment Dante stood there, gun pointed at Victor's head, war raging in his eyes. Then he lowered the guns. "Get him out of my sight," he told his men. "Lock him up, I'll decide what to do with him later." They dragged Victor away, still screaming and begging. Dante turned to Santoro. "You have two choices: walk away from this city, completely, forever, or die here tonight." Santoro, still on his knees, actually smiled. "You think letting me live makes you merciful, it makes you weak." "Maybe, but I'm tired of being my father's son." "This isn't over, Morty." "Yes," Dante said coldly. "It is, because I'm sending you a message tonight. I'm sending the entire underworld a message. The old ways are dead. The constant war, the betrayals, the bodies, it ends." "You're insane, that's not how this world works." "Then I'll change the world." He nodded to his men. They pulled Santoro to his feet. "Take him to the city limits, let him go." Santoro was dragged away, still protesting, still threatening. When the warehouse was finally empty, except for us and Dante's inner circle, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. "You let them live," I said. "Because of you." "No, because you wanted to, I just gave you permission." He pulled me into his arms, held me like I was the only real thing in his world. "I love you," he whispered. "God, Elena, I love you so much." "I love you too. I'm sorry for all of this, for bringing you into this nightmare." "I'm not sorry I chose you, I choose you, every time." The fallout from that night was massive. Victor was locked in a cell beneath Morty Tower, awaiting judgment. Santoro fled the city, his empire crumbling without his presence. Other families watched, waited, wondered if Dante Morty had truly changed or if this was just another play for power. I spent the next week treating Dante's men, 5 wounded, 3 seriously, but no one died, not on our side. Small victory. Dante changed after that night, became quieter, more thoughtful, less quick to violence. "I keep thinking about what you said," he told me one night as we lay in bed together, "about not becoming my father." "What about it?" "I've spent my entire life trying to be him, trying to be strong enough, brutal enough, feared enough, and for what? What do you want instead?" He turned to look at me, and I saw vulnerability in his eyes. "I want to be someone you can be proud of." My heart broke and healed at the same time. "I'm already proud of you." "I'm a criminal, Elena." "You're also a man who spared his enemies when he could have killed them. A man who's trying to change a system that's been broken for generations. That takes more strength than violence ever could." He kissed me softly. "What did I do to deserve you?" "You opened your door when I knocked, metaphorically speaking." He laughed, actually laughed, a real, genuine laugh that lit up his whole face. "I have something for you," he said suddenly, reaching into his nightstand drawer. He pulled out a small velvet box. My heart stopped. "Dante, before you panic, it's not what you think, not yet anyway." He opened the box. Inside was a key on a silver chain. "What is this?" "A key to my personal safe, the one with all my secrets, all my money, all my leverage. No one has access to it except me." He paused. "And now you." "Why?" "Because I trust you with everything I am, everything I have. You're not just my lover, Elena, you're my partner, my equal, and I want you to know that." Tears welled in my eyes. This is the most romantic thing anyone's ever given me. "A key. Trust, you're giving me trust." He put the chain around my neck, the key settling above my heart. "I love you, Elena Cross, more than power, more than money, more than my own life." "I love you too." We made love that night with new understanding, new commitment, new promises. But in the back of my mind, I knew this peace was temporary. Men like Dante don't get happy endings. I was right. 3 weeks later, Santoro returned. I was in the medical suite when the alarms went off, lockdown protocols, every door sealed, every window shuttered. Something was very wrong. Dante burst into the room, gun in hand, face grim. "We need to move, now." "What's happening?" "Santoro, he's back, and he brought an army." "How many?" "Enough." He grabbed my hand, pulled me into the hallway. His men were everywhere, taking defensive positions, weapons ready. "Boss," one of his captains shouted, "they're storming the building, ground floor is compromised. Fall back to the upper levels, set up a perimeter on the 20th floor. We can't hold that long." "Then we hold as long as we can." Dante turned to me. "There's an emergency elevator. It goes straight to the roof, helicopter waiting." "I'm not leaving you." "Elena." "No, we're not doing this again, I stay. We fight together or we die together." He looked at me with so much love and pain, and fear that it physically hurt. "Together then." We made our way to his office, the most defensible room in the building. Reinforced walls, multiple exits, supplies for a siege. "How did Santoro get this many men?" I asked as Dante loaded weapons. "He allied with the other families, convinced them I was going weak, that I was a liability." "Are you?" He looked at me. 3 months ago I would have burned this city to the ground rather than show weakness. Today I'm hiding in my office with the woman I love, hoping we survive. So yes, I'm going weak. That's not weakness, that's having something to live for. Gunfire erupted below us, closer now. "They're coming," Dante said calmly. "Stay behind me, no matter what happens, stay behind me." The door exploded inward. Men poured in, Santoro's men, Dante's men fired back, the office became a war zone. I ducked behind the desk, medical bag clutched to my chest, completely useless. I was a healer in a room full of killers. "Dante," I screamed as one of Santoro's men got too close. Dante spun, fired, dropped him, but more kept coming. We were going to die here. Then I heard it, the sound of helicopters, multiple helicopters. "Police," someone shouted from outside. "Everyone freeze." The gunfire stopped. Confusion rippled through both sides. "What's happening?" I asked. Dante was staring out the window, face unreadable. "Cavalry." "What?" I called them before Santoro arrived, told them about the attack, gave them everything, my records, my contacts, proof of Santoro's crimes. You turned yourself in." "I turned us both in. Well, me mostly, you're technically a witness." Police flooded the building, arresting everyone, Santoro, his men, Dante's men. And Dante himself. "Wait," I screamed as they put handcuffs on him. "What are you doing?" "What I should have done years ago," Dante said calmly. "Making a deal." A man in a suit stepped forward. "FBI, Miss Cross, I'm Agent Morrison, Mr. Morty has agreed to testify against every major crime family in the city in exchange for immunity for you, and reduced sentencing for himself." I stared at Dante. "You're going to prison. 5 years, maybe less with good behavior, and you'll be free, clear, no charges." "Dante, no. It's done, Elena, it's over." They started to lead him away. "Wait," I ran to him, threw my arms around him despite the handcuffs. 5 years, that's too long. "It'll go fast. I'll wait for you." He looked at me with so much love it hurt. "Don't, live your life, be happy, forget about me." "Never. Elena. 5 years, I'll be right here when you get out, and then we start over, clean, legal, normal." "I don't deserve you." "Tough, you're stuck with me." He kissed me one last time, desperate, final, full of promises. Then they took him away. 5 years is a long time. I finished my nursing degree, properly this time, got a job at a real hospital, saved lives the legal way. I visited Dante every week, watched him transform from a crime boss to just a man who read books and took college courses and learned how to be something other than violent. And today, finally, he was coming home. I waited outside the prison gates, nervous as a teenager on a first date. The doors opened, and there he was. Older, a few more grey hairs, but those same dark eyes that had seen death and chosen life. He saw me and smiled, that real, genuine smile that I'd fallen in love with. "Elena." "Dante." He walked to me slowly, like he couldn't quite believe I was real. "You waited. I told you I would. 5 years, you could have moved on, found someone normal, someone who could give you a real life." I took his hand, placed it over my heart. You are my real life. He pulled me into his arms, held me like he'd been drowning and I was air. I love you, he whispered. I never stopped. I love you too. He pulled back, reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. My heart stopped. 5 years ago I told you I wanted to be someone you could be proud of. I spent every day in there trying to become that man. He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple, beautiful, perfect. Elena Cross, will you marry me? I was crying, laughing, both at once. Yes, God, yes. He slipped the ring on my finger, kissed me like we had all the time in the world. Because we did. No more running, no more violence, no more looking over our shoulders. Just us, just love, just life. So what now? He asked. Now we go home, we start over, we build something real. No more empire. No more empire. No more violence. No more violence. Just us. Just us. He smiled, that beautiful, devastating smile that had destroyed me 5 years ago. Best offer I've ever had. We walked away from the prison hand in hand, two people who'd found each other in the darkness and refused to let go. They say love can't save you. They're wronged. Love didn't save us from the world, but it saved us from ourselves. And sometimes that's enough. So that's my story, the story of how I bandaged a stranger's wounds and fell in love with the devil himself. Was it smart? No. Was it safe? Definitely not. Would I do it all again? Every single time. Because love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who's perfect for you, even if he's a former mafia boss with a criminal record and a tendency to be overprotective. Dante and I got married 6 months after his release. Small ceremony, just us and a judge. We opened a free clinic in the neighborhood where I grew up, helping people who fall through the cracks, people like we used to be. Do I regret any of it, the danger, the fear, the violence? Not for a second. Because I found something rare in this world. I found real love. Messy, complicated, dangerous, beautiful love. And I'd bandage those wounds again in a heartbeat. Thank you for listening to my story. Now go find your own dangerous love story. Just maybe skip the whole mafia boss part. Trust me, it's complicated. If you enjoyed the story, kindly subscribe as this channel. This encourages me to create more. See you in my next video.